Hello there, welcome to my kitchen. Today we're going to be canning spaghetti sauce. And I wasn't going to do this. I said I wasn't going to can anymore once I moved. But my husband planted 6 tomato plants, and oh my goodness, have I been blessed with tomatoes. We have had more tomatoes than we've known what to do with, and I will not waste tomatoes. I've given them away, and now nobody wants them anymore. So I guess I'm gonna make spaghetti sauce. My grandkids love spaghetti sauce. So that's what they're having for supper tonight. Plus, that's what I'm going to be canning today. And first of all, you take a large pan, put it on, and get the water good and hot. And I just drop my tomatoes in it. And the skin on the tomatoes will crack. Once the tomato skin cracks, you take them out, and then you can peel them real easy. Get the skin off of them. And it doesn't take but a second for that to happen. As you can see, I've already got 1, 2, 3, several of them that have cracked. See what I mean by cracking? It just opens up. Then you can peel them very easy, get the skin off, and then once you get the skin off, you can start picking and start your little process of peeling them all, which I love tomatoes. I'll stand at the sink and just put a little bit of salt on them and just eat the tomato just like that. I love tomatoes. My mother used to do that, and I used to laugh at her because she'd say, "I don't like tomatoes." And I'd catch her standing there eating them. And I'd say, "Mom, what are you doing?" "Nothing." I'd say, "You're eating a tomato." But tomatoes are wonderful. I'm going to make spaghetti sauce today. And then the next time I get a bunch, I think I'm going to make some salsa. My grandson texted me today, and he's going to get some of them, and his wife's going to make some salsa with it. So, but these are being a little hard to get. They don't want to break. They will. Anyway, they'll crack. They may not have been as ripe as the others, but here we go. I've canned a little bit of everything with tomatoes. I've made salsa. I canned just regular tomatoes. I've made V8 with them. And I know what I'm going to make I'm going to can some vegetable soup. That's what I'm going to make. These are all done already. Turn my fire off. Get those last 2 out. And then we'll start the next step. And then all you have to do, take them, peel them, and then just dice them up, and then they go on and cook. When you're cooking them, it takes quite a while to cook them, so you could be doing a lot of other things. Your jars have to be good and hot when you put them in. So what I do with my jars, I'll put them in my dishwasher just on rinse, and then that way they're good and hot. And you have good hot jars to put your whatever you're canning in. There you go. Make sure you get any bad spots. If there's a bad spot, make sure you get that out, because it'll cause the whole jar just to go bad if you get a little bad spot on. One little spot wastes the whole jar. So just make sure you get it all. Make make sure there's nothing bad in there. These tomatoes are wonderful. I used to always raise the Amish tomatoes because they were always so good and meaty, but I don't know what these are that my husband planted this year, but they're wonderful. So I told him I'm going to make sure that this is what he gets every year, but next year he's not going to plant 6 plants. He's only planting 2. So I don't want this many next year. But that's what I always say every year. But anyway, we're going to have spaghetti sauce, I know. Plenty of it. But now I always take half a bushel of these and at a time and do, because that's what my recipe calls for. And you'll enjoy it. Once I get this done, once I get it canner full to cook, I'll peel the rest of those in a little bit. Get your bowl and put it in your big pot. And then you'll want to add to it, your peppers. Now, you'll add 3 nice big peppers. And I stood there and cheated. I ate peppers as I was doing it. I love fresh peppers. They're so good, and they're good for you. And then you'll want to add 3 nice big onions chopped up. Dice them real nice. Add that into your sauce. Now you can add garlic salt, but if I can get fresh garlic, I will add that because I like fresh garlic. And I always add a little bit more than what the recipe calls for because I like garlic. And then add a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. And then 3 tablespoons of basil and 2 tablespoons of seasoning salt. And then add just a little bit of celery seed. And then you stir it all up real good, and then you let it cook until it's good and thick. And I always add a can of tomato paste because that makes it get thick, real thick for spaghetti sauce. Because I don't like it watery once you put it on the spaghetti, and then you got all this water around on your plate. And I don't like that. So we're going to let this cook and see if the kids like spaghetti tonight. They may say, Grandma, you didn't make spaghetti very good. You never know. But we're going to peel the rest of these tomatoes and put them in there and cook that. And then we'll be back after we get it all cooked and get it nice and thick. Then we're going to put it in our jars and then we'll go from there. So we'll be back. Okay, we've got all of them peeled down and ready to finish it up. Okay, I'm going to put these in with what we did a little bit ago. Now at this point, all we have to do is stir them all up and let them cook. And now it's going to take probably a good 3 hours, maybe longer, for everything to cook and all the spices and the onions and peppers and tomatoes all to marry together. So this is a good time that you can get all your mess cleaned up, get your kitchen cleaned up, get your jars in the dishwasher, so they're good and hot when you get ready to put the spaghetti sauce in your jars. So we're going to have spaghetti for supper with fresh spaghetti sauce. I know one thing, I sure miss my other kitchen. We just moved to Marysville, and in the other house I had in Wapakoneta, I had a big country kitchen. I was so aggravated at my husband when he first built my island because it was so big. I said, why on earth did you make a kitchen, mess my kitchen up like this? I said, it's so big, I'll never use it all. I think it was 4 by 6 or maybe a little bit bigger. And I said, it's so big. And I would give anything in the world if I had that here now, although it wouldn't fit in this kitchen. But I used that island so much and I loved it. And now I don't have room to set anything anywhere. But he is in the process of making me a little one that I can scoot back in the corner when I'm not using it. At least I'll be glad to have it. But anyway, this is going to cook for about 3 hours. Then I'll be back and we'll get it in the jars and cook spaghetti to go with it for tonight. And then we will be all finished. Okay, we're back. Now, my sauce is all cooked and ready to can. Now my sauce is going to be thin, it's not chunky. Now if you want chunky spaghetti sauce, a lot of people like chunky sauce. Don't cook it quite as long and it'll be chunky. But if you want it thin, you can cook it longer, or you can also run it through your blender and it'll be really thin and nice. Now take a pan like so and put your can jar in that and then just start filling it. You'll want to have something like this put over it because that way you won't run it over the can. This looks really good. And I fill my cans up and just switch them to about there. That way when you put them in the canner to process them, see, that looks really good. They won't spill out. Sometimes your cans will come over and spill out a little bit as when they're canning, being processed, because maybe you filled them a little bit too full and they're going to go over. I usually put it up in quart jars because we'll both use a quart. Now see this one here, I put a little bit too much in it. Vera, you know better. Yeah, I put a little bit too much in it. And if I do it like that, it's definitely going to go over. So I'll take a little bit of it out. No biggie. Just take a little bit out. Tighten my lid down. And keep going. I think we're going to have a nice batch with this. Considering I didn't want to can any this year, but I don't have much left. Well, I just had decided I wasn't going to can a lot this year. My granddaughter, and my grandson's wife, she's going to can some salsa. So I had a big pile of tomatoes laying over there that my husband took down for her. She's going to do those. And I was so glad because I like to see the younger people canning and putting food up. And I was also glad because then I didn't have to do anything with them. So that made me happy 2 ways. Now, then you put these in your canner and or if you can cold pack them in a canner like I'm using with the pressure canner, or you can put them in the cold packer and not use a pressure canner and just let them run like that. And then eventually the top, you'll hear it like that. Now my jars will be doing that off and on all night. Sometimes they'll seal, and that means they're sealed when they pop, and they might seal as soon as I take them out, and they might not seal till maybe 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. But it makes me feel good when I hear that pop because I know they've sealed. So anyway, that's how you can spaghetti sauce. And it looks like this is going to be a real nice batch, and I should have probably, out of mine, I should get about 12 to 14 quarts. And I might do another one. I know there's a lot more tomatoes coming on out there. I don't know if I'll do more sauce or not. I want to can a little bit of, maybe a little bit of salsa, I don't know. But I do want to can some vegetable soup. I love vegetable soup in the winter. And I do want to make some of that. So anyway, I hope you try the spaghetti sauce. You'll love it. And I think your family will like it. So thank you for joining me in my kitchen today, and have a great evening. Thank you.